Farron Cousins is on the line with us, co-host of Ring of Fire Radio, contributor to the Smog blog, executive editor of Trial Lawyer Magazine, TRO Fire, as in the ring of, trofire.com is the website. And you can tweet him at Farron Balanced, Farron Balanced. Farron, welcome back.
Tom, how you doing? It sounds like I need to drop a few jobs there. I've got a pretty long intro.
Hey, you're a busy guy. I honor that. You're on a tear here about how the Republicans are going after climate scientists. This is pretty shocking stuff. Tell us about it.
Well, it really is. What we have is the Energy and Environment Legal Fund, Legal Institute, sorry. What they've tried to do now is this new attack on climate science where they are not necessarily seeking anything in damages, but they're suing climate scientists to get their hands on their unfinished research. Essentially, one of the things they're doing is they're trying to create the next climate gate, faux little scandal thing, so that they can take a couple words out of context and try to use it to discredit
like they did when they hacked East Anglia University back about 5-6 years ago.
Right. And in that case, they took 3 words out of 20,000 documents. They took 3 words out of context and created this huge controversy that didn't actually exist. And so that's what this E&E Legal Institute is trying to do right now. And it should be, noted that this institute, it is a 501c3, but it's funded by Arch Coal, by Peabody Coal, by the whole coal and dirty energy industry. And luckily, the Guardian originally reported this and kind of exposed it. And they talked about the fact that E&E has admitted that the only reason they're doing this is because they are trying to embarrass climate scientists. They're trying to tie up their time so that they cannot go and do vital climate research. They're not seeking any kind of damages. They don't want any money. They just want to hold up climate scientists so that they can't do their job to protect this country from climate change.
Right, one of these scientists, Dr. Hughes, he spent a full 10 weeks pulling together his emails to comply with a subpoena from this group?
He did 2.5 months that he was unable to actually do his job, do his work there at the University of Arizona because of all of the documents and emails that this E&E Legal Institute wanted to get their hands on. And again, it's not just the time factor. I mean, that is a huge part of this equation. But the second is that anytime you get sued, you pretty much have to go out and hire an attorney. So if they're suing a university, the university is going to have to pay for that out of that department's money, which averages, throughout the country at about $300 an hour. So they're draining them of their financial resources, draining them of their time, and all they're hoping to do is find 1 or 2 words that are going to embarrass a climate scientist and basically attempt to destroy.
And they don't even need to really do that, because by draining the resources of these departments and making life miserable for these universities, I'm wondering how many universities are going to start saying, climate science research, it's not that important here anymore.
It's not. And, a lot of things are different when you go to other countries. I mean, even in Canada, the university would be able to file an immediate lawsuit against these people, not only to have the original suit dropped, but also to retrieve all of their money plus damages that they had done to the university. So,
why can that not be done here?
Well, unfortunately, because that's not the way our laws are necessarily written. This lawsuit has to go forth. It has to kind of proceed if the judges say that, yes, it can, which they already have, because they've found some corporate-friendly judges down in the Southwest, because originally they tried to sue Dr. Michael Mann up in Massachusetts.
Yeah, he came on this program and talked about it.
Yeah, and that lawsuit was thrown out. They said it has absolutely no merit. What you're seeking makes no sense. So they do what other, major corporations do. They shop around for different judges.
Right.
And that's a part of the equation that, I didn't talk about in the article, but it's something that voters need to be aware of, especially as we head into an election. There is corporate money flowing like crazy into the judicial system right now. I have not seen a single person discuss this, But the reason for that is because these corporations are wanting to buy up the judgeships so that when they finally go in front of the judge for polluting or for these horrible lawsuits against these climate scientists, they know that they've got a friend on the bench. And I know that's an aside, but I think that's something voters need to start paying attention to, because that judicial money in politics is going to screw us for a generation.
Yeah. What percentage of judges are elected rather than appointed?
It kind of depends. Some states do only appointed. Some states do, full-blown elections. Some have nonpartisan elections. So once you start breaking it down into that, it's hard to find the actual percentages.
Right.
But I do know it's well over a third of the country, I believe, has partisan judicial elections.
Wow.
So that, obviously is very troubling. And I did a story a couple years ago in the Trial Lawyer magazine. We had tens of millions of dollars flowing to local judges, just in small towns across America where people had no way to pay attention. Reporters never go there, never look at it. And what happens is that when the Koch brothers say they go into a small town in Texas that nobody's ever heard of and they want to frack, well, if the people appeal it, they have to go in front of this judge, not knowing that this judge, the small town judge, was paid for by the Koch brothers. They're doing the same thing in this election. And again, the corporate media is nowhere on this story. I don't know that I've ever seen a story on money in judicial politics from the corporate media.
Wow. That's astonishing. Farron, we're talking with Farron Cousins, co-host of Ring of Fire Radio and writes for the DeSmog blog and the executive editor of the Trial Lawyer magazine. TROfire.com is the website. Farron, what can we do about this?
Well, what we have to do is we have to get out there and vote. We have to make sure that we do our homework, too, because it's not just enough to go out and vote. The American public has to go and educate themselves. I mean, we try to do our part. We tell these stories that nobody else is talking about, but some of it really is on the public. They have to look up these judges. When they get their sample ballot or they go online and look at the sample ballot in their area, Google those names along with, the term campaign money. And you can go to any of those websites and see who is funding that person's campaign. When you see that it's a fossil fuel company or, any kind of big ag company, you know what that person is going to stand for, whether it's a House seat, a local seat, or a judgeship. That way, you know who to vote for, you know who to vote against. And that's what the public can do to change this system. But we all have to get active. I mean, especially on an issue as important as climate change, where we see now that these groups that are funded by industry are just trying to smear scientists because that's the only weapon they have left in their arsenal.
How are these different than SLAPP suits? And I remember, a decade or more ago, I wrote about SLAPP suits in unequal protection. And we have just a minute left, by the way, Farron. Are SLAPP suits illegal now, and could this kind of lawsuit be made illegal?
It could be made illegal, especially since they're not seeking any damages. And that's why it's so disappointing to see this, because, again, in order to file a lawsuit in this country, you have to have standing. And as far as we can see, looking at these lawsuits and what the group filing them has said, there is no standing. They're not seeking damages. They're not seeking any information for a specific reason other than to embarrass these scientists. And those are their words. They want to embarrass these scientists. So they should be illegal. They could be made illegal, but that's not going to happen until we get a change throughout the system.
Amazing. Farron Cousins. You can tweet him at Farron Balanced, Farron Balanced. The website, trofire.com. You'll see my picture up there, too. And proudly part of Ring of Fire. Farron is a co-host of Ring of Fire Radio, contributor to Smog Blog, and the executive editor of Trial Lawyer magazine. Thank you, Farron.
Thanks, Tom.
To watch more clips from our programs, hit the Watch More Videos button over here. And please be sure to hit the handy-dandy subscribe button so you'll always be up to date. Tag, you're it.